Hey, and welcome back for your fourth and final training video in FWC Kids training. Hopefully by the end of this video you feel confident about how the kids ministry works, the structure of it, how to do check-in, how to respond to an email and accept your scheduled day. And today in this last video we're going to look at lesson preparation and what you should expect when you receive your lesson and how you can prepare. Before we get into the details of a lesson and what that exactly looks like, let's look at a typical Sunday schedule. We're focusing on the preschool class and the school age class. We're not going to talk about the nursery because their schedule is slightly different. But a typical schedule on a Sunday morning, now things do change, but starting at 10:30 is when our main worship service starts. Currently, our children, minus our nursery age kiddos, all join and sit with their parents or an approved person in the sanctuary. After our corporate time of worship, that's usually about 11. Some of these times are approximate just because sometimes worship goes longer than others, sometimes it goes shorter than others. Approximately about 11 a.m., preschool and school age are dismissed. They go to the gym and we do a game time. They do such a good job of being still in the sanctuary, they need to get some wiggles out. So we go, we play a game. That usually takes about 10-15 minutes. After that, we all line up. We go into the clubhouse. We choose our snack, and that's where we do kind of either an introduction to the lesson. You'll see where it says anticipatory set, and then a mini lesson. Sometimes the preschool will stay for the entirety of that time, and sometimes they will be dismissed before then. It just kind of depends on the day and the plan of the day. By 11:30, the entire preschool and school age have been broken up into small groups. So preschool would then go to the garden room, which is located by the sanctuary. The school age kiddos are then broken up into two groups. You have your grades 3 through 6, and then you have your grades K through 2. You'll be assigned as to which one of those you'll be working with, and it just kind of depends on the day as to what you'd like to do. And then at 11:45, you'll be doing in your small group, like a small activity. That'll take you about 10-15 minutes. And then after that, you'll move into a time of prayer. And as soon as your prayer time is over, there's about 15 minutes with which to do prayer. But once your prayer time is over, children are welcome to go into the gym and free play. The preschool class should plan to come to the gym straight at noon. If that means they have extra time to play and do things in the classroom, all the better. This is kind of a giant size, so you can really see the lesson. This is a lesson that we did called the League of Investigators, Who is the Holy Spirit? So you can see the top portion is the overall series or the overall unit with which we're working on. Directly underneath that, you'll see where it says the Holy Spirit can live in me. That is that particular week's topic. Directly underneath the week's topic, you're going to see something called objectives. The objectives can also be considered goals. They're the things that, at the end of the day, I want the kids to know, to feel, and to respond. So this particular week, the goal was for the children to know who the Holy Spirit and what work He does in our lives, to feel secure to respond to the Holy Spirit as they feel invited to, and then to have an opportunity to respond to the prompting of the Holy Spirit. Also underneath the objectives part, you might see something that says bottom line or main point, and this would be something that just illustrates if you were to boil everything down, the one thing we want the kids to remember is this. That's a relatively new development, and so it was not in this particular lesson to show you as a visual. But just know that in future lessons that is there as well. The next thing that you're going to see is kind of a breakup of what our large group time looks like. So we have game time in the gym. A lot of times I don't list the game specifically on there. I do have a list of games that I usually pull from, so the game may or may not be listed. The next part is the anticipatory set. The anticipatory set is really fancy teacher talk, and what that means is this is a very short time where we're either going to review what we did the week before, or we're going to preview something that we're getting ready to do. It's a time to try to gather everyone's attention. This can be kind of difficult to go from the gym to getting the snack. They're all getting hungry. They've been at church for a while, and so this is kind of the time to help engage them into what we're doing for the day. Sometimes it's a game, sometimes it's a story, sometimes it's a question, discussion, video. It depends, but the purpose of this time is to either review or preview. The next section that you're going to see is the mini lesson. The mini lesson is a time where we're going to specifically introduce the topic for the day. In the small groups, they'll get broken down into little finer pieces and a little more depth. But the mini lesson is where we're just basically going to kind of introduce what the topic is in some way, shape, or form and help the kids kind of connect with that. At different times throughout your participation in the ministry, you may be asked to, yes, take care of that small group time. That's kind of a given. But you may be asked to either do the mini lesson or the anticipatory set, and that you would lead that portion of the day. If you're not asked, then you don't need to worry about the anticipatory set or the mini lesson. You just need to worry about your small group time. And when I say worry, I don't mean actually worry. I mean you just make yourself comfortable with that section. And know that, well, I wasn't assigned to that, so I don't need to worry about that particular job responsibility. But you can at least see it to see where the lesson is going in its entirety. So from our mini lesson, we move into small groups, and you can see that the small groups are broken up into 3 different age groups. We have our preschool group, which would then move to the garden classroom by the sanctuary. We have our K through 2 group, and then we have our 3 through 6 group. 6th graders have a choice of whether they would like to stay in Kids Church or if they would like to move up to youth. Since Smithville 6th grade is in the elementary school, a lot of our Smithville 6th graders choose to stay in Kids Church one more year. However, that's a relatively new development at the time of this recording, so you can see on my list, and it still says 3 to 5. Any supplies that you would need for your lesson for the day would be in the colored bins, and I will show you in the process at the end of this video where you can find that. Preschool is a blue bin and it's labeled preschool. K through 2 is a pink bin and it's labeled K2, and then the other group is kind of a dark tan color and it's also labeled 3 through 5. After the small group time, you can see it's labeled preschool. It's divided up into 3 different areas. Whatever area you're doing, if you were in charge of the preschool class that day, you would know, okay, I'm doing my small group time with the preschoolers. What are we doing? What are we doing for our preschool time during prayer? You can see the other areas. You don't have to be responsible for those areas, but you at least have some knowledge as to what they're going to be working on as well. For the preschool class, for example, they made doves with straws and a little cutout, which, by the way, they thought was a real hoot. All of those supplies would be in your colored bin. Your staplers, your scissors, all of that type of thing. You can also find some supplies in the classroom, but otherwise, if it's something special, it would be in the colored bin for you. Every Sunday, I take the bins. You can see that they have some supplies in them for that day. That particular day, the preschool class was using a teddy bear, and the upper grades were using a stuffed hamburger. I don't know if you can tell that from the video. But every day in the clubhouse, by the whiteboard, there is a shelf that looks just like this. Every Sunday morning, I bring out the bins with the supplies and I put them there. It goes in age order, so the oldest group is on the bottom, the youngest group is on the top. When it's your time for small group, that's what you need for small group. So you just go ahead and pick it and take it to your area, and everything that you need, including a printout of the lesson, will be in there. If you have any further questions about lessons, please let me know, and otherwise, congratulations and welcome to the team.